People that never go to church come and they sit in the back and they stand. And I want you to know that there's a whole bunch of nice seats here. And I would like all of you that are squatting back there in the back to please come up and make a new friend or go in your own posse over here, because there's a lot of seats here. And it's very comfortable for a speaker, for Joy who's coming, and it's very interactive. So I really would like all of you standing and sitting back there in the back. I'm going to give you 1 minute to come up and try to fill the seats here. Please. Well, we're not starting until this, or I'm going to have these people come over here. So it's part of the process. Okay, I'm taking away CEUs from those who don't come up to. Gayla, here you go. I really need this part of the room filled up. So I ask for your benevolence in doing that. Do you want to go do it from this side then? Yeah, because if there's more people on that side than on this side. And so that side comes here. Can you do that then? Go from one to the other? Okay, those that are coming in, I ask you to come to this side of the room, please. I'm going to ask the board to move next. Well, thank you for being so I'm not going to say it. So you ready? We're going to close the doors, or? Okay. So it's with great pleasure that I welcome you to the 2018 A.G. Bell Convention here in Scottsdale. We're here to celebrate our A.G. Bell's mission, which is working globally to ensure that people who are deaf and hard of hearing can hear and talk. Our theme this year is Pioneering Progress, Igniting Innovation. I hope that in this last day that just ended now of sessions, you have been learning new things, that you can apply those things that you've learned in your career and your family life. I am sure you'll leave this convention with great information that will help you in your journey. And if the past is any proof, you're about to make some lifelong friends. I encourage you to check out the resources that have been created for you on our website at www.agbellconvention.com/resources, and to join in the conversation on Twitter and through our convention Facebook group. Do you mind if I'm going to have to move some things here, Joy, okay? I'll put them back. I also encourage you to use the hashtag 2018 A.G. Bell Convention in your social posts, all of which you will find on the new A.G. Bell Convention website. This year, we are celebrating the tremendous strides our field is making in advancing research and practice that supports listening and spoken language for those with people with hearing loss and the people who make it happen every day. I would like to start off by thanking the many wonderful people who made all these events possible. First, I would like to thank our amazing sponsors who helped make this year's convention come to life. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. I would also like to thank our Cradle to Career corporate partners who have been working with us to ensure that people who are deaf and hard of hearing can hear and talk. The Cradle to Career initiative, which was launched this year, supports a child's journey with listening and spoken language through 4 phases. Number 1, supporting parents at the time of diagnosis with the new parent hotline and informational webinars. The webinars are on topics of vital importance for early intervention. Number 2, working closely with families and professionals through locally based learning expos in partnership with AG Bell chapters. Number 3, providing hands-on internships at our partners' headquarters to help young adults, especially those who attended Loft, and prepare them for an effective transition into the workforce and beyond. And number 4, supporting college students with hearing loss in auditory research internships. These internships are done with professors who use listening and spoken language to encourage them to persevere in the sciences. Please join me in giving our Cradle to Career partners a round of applause. I'd also like to thank Dr. Carol Flexer and Dr. Don Goldberg for leading the initiative to rewrite the listening and spoken language certification exam this year. Carol, you're here. Don, is Don here? Carol, I know you're here. You stand. And I also like to thank the list of people that you see on the screen. And would you all stand up, everybody that worked on that exam? Dave gave countless hours of work, intelligent thought, and it's volunteerism at its best. We really, really thank you. Imagine the amount of money we would have had to spend had all these people not giving their precious time. So thank you again. The A.G. Bell Academy does an outstanding job, and we all know that, but its committees are special. So I would like the members of the Appeals, Certification, Ethics, Global Matters, Mentoring, and Nominating Committee, any other committee? And Nominating Committee to please stand and get a big round of applause for all your work. And finally, I would like to thank the A.G. Bell staff. As you can see, you can come up. What about the lanyards? Yes. I'd like to thank them all, but I would particularly like to thank Chris Gensch, our communications director, and his staff, who have made our public relations and communications flow seamlessly. Chris? And of course, our events manager, Brenda Zimmerman, whose behind-the-scenes work has been instrumental in the success of this convention. Brenda? So here we are 15, 16? Here we are 16 strong. Ted calls us the Volta 16. It's usually the Volta 12, but we have some added consultants on. So here's the Volta 16 that make my day wonderful every day. And I'm sure all of you have interacted with all of them or one of them throughout your interaction with A.G. Bell. And I want to thank all you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for making everything flow so smoothly and to putting up with a whole bunch of last-minute stresses. So thank you very much. Tonight, you will meet them tonight, but we have some very special guests who have come from near and far. Number one is Justin Osman. Justin is the youngest son of Merrill Osman. You know, the family, I think that last name says it all. Merrill was one of the lead singers of the world-famous Osmond Family Band. Justin was diagnosed at 2 years old with a 90% hearing loss. But with listening and spoken language therapy, Justin now tours the world, sharing his experiences to inspire children with hearing loss to achieve their dreams. Another special guest, you'll hear his story tonight. Another special guest is Elena LaQuatra, who lost her hearing at age 4 and wears bilateral cochlear implants. Elena honed her skills as Miss Pennsylvania USA and now works for Fox affiliate WTAE-TV, where she hopes to one day become the first TV news anchor with hearing loss. And finally, our other special guest is Megan Swanson, who currently works in media and was crowned National Miss Amazing in 2017. She recently appeared on the Netflix show Nailed It. I hope she baked something weird. That's, I think, what that show is about. Together, they will be leading a panel tomorrow. It's called Experience in the Workplace, and will be at the Chairman's Awards dinner tonight, where Justin, as I say, will tell you his wonderful story. By the way, you haven't gotten your ticket, there's still time. You can see one of our white knights that's sitting around here, and we'll be happy to, first to take your money and then to walk you into Many things have occurred since the last time we met, and I want to keep it brief because you have a wonderful presentation I know you're all going to enjoy, even though you have to tilt it to the left. But I would like to comment on a few things, though. One major development has been in the making for quite a while. Actually, from the second week I started and I received a phone call from Spain. We recognize the need to extend AG Bell's reach internationally, both in services and certification. And this is really nothing new. It's really in keeping with Dr. Bell's initial vision when he built the Volta Bureau. Some of you know it, but to those that are new, when Dr. Bell built the Volta Bureau, he wrote to scientists and teachers all over the world and asked them to contribute any writings that they had related to deafness and speech. The world soon answered, and that established a library at the Volta Bureau, which grew to be 4 stories high. We have the distinct privilege of having volumes of books dating as far back as the 16th century. We also recognize that there are over 600 million people who speak Spanish either as a first or a second language. Consistent with Dr. Bell's philosophy, one of the most significant developments that occurred last year was the launch of AG Bell International in Madrid, Spain. Our conversation began with our Spanish counterparts based on the fact that we have the same global mission. And we also have the same desire to have a global impact in the field of listening and spoken language. I would now like to call up to the stage the Executive Director of AG Bell International, Svante Borgesen. Svante?
Emilio says a wonderful presentation, but he didn't say that I have about a minute. And so much of a wonderful presentation, I don't know, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you very much, Emilio. We're talking about global, going global. Sounds like a catchphrase, doesn't it? I remember when I thought about these global statements, I remember a T-shirt I saw a couple of years back on the beach somewhere, a guy wearing it, and it said, "Join the worldwide movement against globalization." And I thought it was very funny, as some of you seem to think as well. But then I thought about it, and I thought it's pretty smart, actually, because it sort of talks or tells a story that globalization is sort of inevitable, isn't it? It's a fact that we have to think global and act local, which is, I guess, another catchphrase, really, but that's what the world is all about nowadays. Anyways, we, AG Bell, some of us are here, not all of us, because it's a long trip. We are very excited to be here, and we are very excited as well to be part of the mission to make AG Bell global. As Emilio said, just by including Spanish as a new language in our vocabulary here, we're almost doubling the reach as an organization. And that includes, as you all know, an increasing number of native Spanish speakers in the United States. Now we must work hard in building capacity and ultimately increase the number of both native Spanish speakers and others to qualify for LISL or auditory verbal therapy certification. But it doesn't end there, I think. We want to do a lot of things, and you know, Rome wasn't built overnight, as they say. We want to develop a chapter network, not only in Spanish-speaking countries, but across or globally, again. We want to provide or move the symposium agenda beyond the United States, and to be able to reach out to people that have difficulties traveling here, and thereby we need to have symposiums or conventions in other places around the world. So we do have an exciting time ahead of us. We think we need all of you, the help from all of you, to reach our goal. With that help, I'm truly convinced that we are extremely well positioned to make a global impact for all children with hearing loss. Thank you very much, Emilio.
In 2017 and 2018, we underwent a full rebranding and website redesign. As you can see up on the screen, it's our new logo and the new page, in the opening page of the website. And you know, in this age that we live in, our website is the front door connecting us with the world and vice versa. We kept this in mind when redesigning our website. We prioritize a more responsive interface and intuitive design. This has been a tremendous effort, done in a tremendously short amount of time. And it was completed thanks to a small, unwavering team that was focused on bringing AG Bell to the notice of the world. And again, I need to give Chris and his staff a shout out for that, as well as the company that worked partly pro bono to help us to get it started. I want to urge you to visit our website at www.agbell.org.com, and you will view professional resources, information for families, information for adults with hearing loss. This month, we also launched a new parent hotline as part of AG Bell's Cradle to Career initiative, and we are pleased to have with us Julie Swain. Julie, are you here? No? Stand up there. Say hi to everybody so they know where you are. She will be assisting new parents and caregivers throughout the hotline. I've talked about the board, and I'll talk about them later. I really, there's nothing here that we can't do, without the help of this magnificent board that even after their time is past, we can still call on them to keep working. Right here, I see two ex-presidents right in front of me. And they continue to be engaged, and they have a heart and a love of the organization beyond compare. And for me, as the CEO, there's nothing more special, and there's nothing that gives me more security than to come with the support of the board, not only financially, but more importantly, the support that they give me in my decision making. So I would like everyone who's on the board or was on the board before, Ms. Trenny, please stand up so that, and please give him a very big, 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 big round of applause. And also, if it wasn't for the hard work of the Academy Board, all the things that we're doing, all the new strategies, the execution of one very wonderful LISO certification that has gone through different evolutions, but continues to be the gold standard for this profession. It is their hard work that makes this possible. So I would like all the members of the A.G. Bell Academy to please stand. So talking about board, when Ted just finished being president yesterday, but one of his focuses was the growth and expansion of our chapters. And so Ted asked, and I know you know, but I want to say in public that we delivered. You asked and we delivered. And today we've had a tremendous growth. We were 40 chapters yesterday, but as of this morning, we now stand at 41. So please join me in giving Ted a big round of applause for his leadership. Get up so that. Yes, these past 2 weeks, we have incorporated Puerto Rico, and today was Louisiana, so I'm looking for gumbo to eat to celebrate that around here today. So the important thing with chapters is that it's run by volunteers. So I would like all of the volunteers that are in a chapter or chapter leaders to please stand up so we can all recognize you. It's like that American Express ad that, you know, volunteers are priceless, and indeed they are. Throughout our pilot year, we developed something that's called the Healthy Chapters Program, and there's one chapter in particular that excelled beyond expectations. So I am pleased to present the 2017 Chapter of the Year Award to the A.G. Bell Colorado chapter. And here to accept the award is the 2017 chapter president, Tara Bowman. Tara? We have to do this. There's somebody that I met a couple of years ago, and from the moment I met her, I realized that it was someone that really needed to be part of our team. I have to thank Terry Ouellette for introducing me to her. And I have to thank her for having thought about it and having said yes. So, Gayla, will you please come up and join me? She calls me crazy man, so that's fine. Anyway, I leave it over to you. I'm going to take a break for a little while.
Okay. Thank you, Emilio. Hello, all. So this past year, I have had the absolute pleasure of working with our convention committee in planning this educational program. It takes many individuals to create a program that is relevant to our diverse group. And I'd like to draw your attention to your convention program book, where the Education Planning Committee members are listed. I would like for those who participated on the committee or in the peer review process of the many, many submissions we received this year to please stand and be recognized. So the Education Planning Committee, two of you. It was definitely a larger group than two, that's for sure. In particular, A.G. Bell depends. We've got an issue with this microphone. Do you hear feedback? Or is it me? Okay, I'll keep speaking and hopefully get a little farther. Are you still able to hear me okay? All right, terrific, thanks. In particular, A.G. Bell depends on the leadership of its convention co-chairs to set the program. We would like to recognize and bring onto the stage our convention co-chairs, Dr. Stacy Lim and Ms. Lindsay Zombeck. Stacy and Lindsay, we would like to thank you for your dedication and strong commitment to A.G. Bell as the organization and also to the A.G. Bell Convention, where we hope everyone has been benefiting and will continue to benefit from this meeting by pioneering progress and igniting innovation. It's been wonderful to work with each of you, and I've loved having co-chairs this year. They make a great team. Sorry, photo op. We would be remiss if we did not mention that it's truly taken many, many people to make this convention what it is. From the numerous presenters who have donated their time, expertise, knowledge, and skills, to volunteers across the nation, we honor your dedication in making this convention come to life, as well as your commitment to the work of A.G. Bell and the children, families, and individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing, whose lives all of you are positively impacting. So if you participated in bringing this convention to life in any way at all, please stand. That's presenters, everybody. That's really pretty much everyone. Now, I would like to announce, we're going to sort of turn the topic, and it's going to be on our A.G. Bell Scholarship Awards. So I would first like to announce the Certification Scholarship Award that is called the Doreen Pollock AVT Scholarship. A.G. Bell works with the Listen Foundation to promote and make possible the presentation of this scholarship. Doreen Pollock, and many of you in the room know Doreen Pollock, an incredible woman. Some of you don't. We want all of you to know her. She was a pioneer in the standards of excellence in listening and spoken language. Beginning in the 1940s, Doreen developed the then radical idea that even profoundly deaf children have enough residual hearing to be fitted with powerful hearing aids. And once fitted with those hearing aids and given therapy, that these children had the ability to learn to talk just like their peers who did not have hearing loss. Doreen perfected one-on-one therapy that focused on helping these children with the active involvement of their family to identify and learn the meaning of sounds so that they could then hear. Her clinical outcomes demonstrated that this therapy was the appropriate pathway to spoken language. Doreen's teaching methods were observed and implemented by therapists throughout the United States and around the world. Listen Foundation is a Colorado-based nonprofit organization that is focused today on assisting families of deaf and hard of hearing infants and children to access listening and spoken language therapy. It was started almost 50 years ago by parents of children who had received therapy at Doreen's Denver clinic and who wanted to ensure that every family going forward had access to this therapy method. Listen Foundation has created the scholarship in Doreen's name to communicate the importance of supporting new professionals who are seeking certification as listening and spoken language therapists in auditory verbal therapy. On behalf of the Listen Foundation, it is with respect and pleasure that the Listen Foundation awards Ellen Cooper with the 2018 Doreen Pollock Scholarship. Ellie's not here today to accept her award, but she was considered in a group of candidates to be well qualified for this scholarship by both A.G. Bell and the board of the Listen Foundation. Can we just have a round of applause for Ellie Cooper? I also want you to know that Ellie currently works as a speech-language pathologist at Arkansas Children's Hospital, and she considers working with the birth to 5 age group as her dream job. It's really nice to hear. On behalf of A.G. Bell, I would also like to announce the winner of the A.G. Bell Scholarship in support of an auditory verbal educator seeking certification. This year's awardee is Haya Rotenberg, a preschool speech and language therapist at Presence Learning in Howell, New Jersey. And again, Haya's not here today either, but if you could give her a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. These scholarships provide each professional with prepaid fees for the A.G. Bell Academy's LSL certification examination, as well as fund some of the support that they need during their 3rd year of mentoring. On behalf of A.G. Bell and the Listen Foundation, just one more round of applause for Ellie and Haya and every professional who is seeking certification. Thank you. Our next speaker is a world-renowned self-management expert who will present on effective communication and how to apply these strategies in your careers and everyday lives. And so without further ado, please give a warm welcome and round of applause to our keynote speaker, Joy Baldridge.
Photographer know that?
I guess you do it. Well, we have to take a photo up.
There you go.
Lose the papers. These lanyards, I'm sorry, but these lanyards are not pretty on camera.
You can do that, Joy.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you very much. Hi, yes, I'm Joy Baldridge, and I'm here to bring a little more joy to your world. Just, thank you. My work is done here. No, you're very joyful. Just to give you a little background, my first speaking engagement was at the White House, and I was 19 years old. I got there by cold calling the President of the United States. And so when I hear about all the progress that you have made and all the work that you do, it's just astounding. In my case, my mother believed anything was possible, and she said she needed me to come home from spring break from college and learn how to connect with people and sell myself. And I said, okay, who do you want me to call? And she said, the president. And I said, the president of what? And she said, our country. And I said, you mean you want me to call Jimmy Carter? That's who was president when I was 19. Do you know who he is? Because it's been a while. And so I said, why? Why am I calling the president? And I'll always remember her words. She said, because he needs us. I said, how do you know? We had this small speed reading company in Greenwich, Connecticut. We had about 50 reading instructors. My parents invented the Baldridge Reading and Study Strategy Program. And she said, look. And she opens the New York Times, and she points to a direct quote. Jimmy Carter said, I wish I could read faster, like John F. Kennedy did. My mother wholeheartedly believes this is a hot lead. And she says, call him. I said, do you have his number by any chance, Mom? She said, yes, it's government. And she gave me the number to the White House. Well, I called the president, and he was not there. But someone answered and said, send information, and I did. And 6 months later, we get a call. It was from the White House, but my mother's assistant was a little bit hard of hearing, and she thought they said it was the Lighthouse for the Blind. So she said, Lila, on line 2, you have a call. I think it's the Lighthouse. And my mother said, oh, I love the Lighthouse. Could you just tell them I'm in a meeting and I'm a little too busy to talk? So when our time to shine came, my mother said that we were in a meeting and we couldn't talk to the White House. Well, they clarified and said it's on behalf of the President of the United States. And then the Baldridges took the call and we went to Washington. Yay, and what that story tells me is that someone somewhere is looking for exactly what you have to offer. Someone somewhere is looking for exactly what you have to offer. So please turn to the person next to you and say, someone somewhere is looking for exactly what you have to offer. Go! Someone somewhere is looking exactly what you have to offer. I'm neglecting this part of the room. Hi, everybody. So as I said, I am Joy Baldridge. I'm here to bring a little more joy to your world. Because it's tough out there at times. It is tough, but then you recover. And then it's tough. And you recover, and it's tough, and you recover because danger is always lurking. So you have to fight the adversity and wrestle your alligators and do whatever it takes, no matter what. And when you do, you will earn the right to hang with the lions and rule the jungle for as long as you wish. So my question to you is, are you ready to say yes? Oh, good. People asked if I was going to jump. Yes, I jump. So, you got to meet Bob. Bob jumps too. His name is Bob, but he spells it backwards. He's flexible and adaptable. So please take out your Bob and stretch him because he came all the way from Connecticut. Give Bob a stretch. Who here is from Connecticut? All right, Connecticut chapter. I'll speak to you guys. I'll speak at your chapter. So, stretch Bob, give a stretch. And you have to introduce Bob to the Bob next to you. So just say hello and hello. So make sure that Bob meets everybody else. Hello, hello, hello. So I give you Bob because according to Fortune magazine, you need 2 characteristics in order to be employed in this millennium. According to Fortune magazine, you need 2 characteristics to be employed in this millennium, and those 2 characteristics are flexibility and adaptability. The article was written in 1999, and it went on to say that if you're rigid, you break, and what good is it to be broken? And flexibility means to bend without breaking. And adaptability means to adjust to circumstances. How often have you helped families and people adjust to circumstances? So if you can always be flexible and adaptable, it can make all the difference. Flexible and adaptable like Bob. Now in my office, we call it being AFA all the way. AFA all the way, always flexible and adaptable. So if something doesn't go your way, it's okay because you're flexible and adaptable. There's a dance that goes with it. Not everybody likes to dance, but this is the dance. It's like, it's okay because we're flexible and adaptable. And things don't go your way, and some things are not okay, but just because they're not okay, the point is you're okay. Regardless of circumstances, if you're okay, and that's why I give every one of you Bob, because you want to be flexible and adaptable and realize maybe progress is not happening as fast as you would like, but if you get such intensity about it, it's gonna backfire. So instead you just tell yourself, it's okay, because I'm what? Flexible and adaptable, like Bob, correct? So you're expecting more progress out of someone that you're working with than you're getting. But it's okay because you're flexible and adaptable. Can I just see the dance? I'll say it's okay, and you say because I'm flexible and adaptable, okay? So it's okay because what? Flexible and adaptable. Thank you, like Bob. So I've given you a few things in addition to Bob. I've given you a little postcard because I have a book coming out and you can pre-order if you would like. It has lots of the golden nuggets I'm sharing with you today. It's an excellent resource for communication and success. I've also given you a raffle card. We're going to do a raffle at the end, so hold on to that. But I would like you to put your attention mostly to this panel. It has 10 of my favorite useful ideas, or golden nuggets is what I call them. And on the back, it's blank. But if you turn to the back of this panel and you write today's date, my goal is for this to be a life-transforming event and not just a keynote presentation. So if you could put today's date on the back so you know when you took these notes, and it's the 29th of June, 2018. And I'm gonna give you my 3 favorite useful ideas, my 3 favorite golden nuggets, and then we'll go into the others. So on the back, put the date, and you can put number 1 is AFA, right? AFA all the way, always flexible and adaptable. Number 2 on the back is 446. So number 2 on the back is the 446, 446. 446 is a breathing technique. It helps you to be in the present tense when you do deep breathing, as you probably or may know. So if you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, and exhale to 6. It's a very nice way to decompress. So I'm going to count and you're going to breathe. We'll do the 4-4-6. We'll start right now. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And repeat one more time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you're working with someone here, or when you're back where you work, or where you go, you can say to yourself or to others, you know, I think we need a 4-4-6. Because a 4-4-6, what it does is it helps to de-stress. Breathing is your most easily accessible, yet your most underutilized stress reducer. So breathing is your most easily accessible, yet most underutilized stress reducer. You can do it anytime. The key is to do it deeply and like a ninja. And you do it deeply because it puts you, as I said, in the present tense. And now is perfect. You're not thinking ahead and getting ahead of yourself. You're not thinking behind and about what you should have been doing differently. It's about putting you in the present tense so you can really focus and help whoever you're working with. So you've got the 4-4-6. The third one is AFA, all the way, always flexible and adaptable. The second you want to write on the back of your card is 4-4-6, the breathing technique, to help you stay present, focused. And number 3 is called SALT the Hay. SALT, S-A-L-T, the hay, H-A-Y. So my father was raised on a farm in Ohio. Anybody here from a farming family? Yeah? And he said on the farm they had an expression, and many of you probably know the expression. The expression is you can bring a horse to water, but you can't what? Make him drink, right? And so I would say to him, Dad, we all know that. You can't make him drink, the horse is stubborn. And then he would say, but you know what you can do? And we'd say, there's no can do to that. And then he'd say, you can salt the hay. So what will happen when you salt the hay? Horse will get thirsty and will drink. So I love that concept. And I speak in all different organizations and government agencies, and I actually have the head of the government in one of the Caribbean islands who brings a salt shaker to his cabinet meetings now because he wants to get something approved and done. And the philosophy is that behind every 2 can'ts, there is a can. So if I can't do this and I can't do that, the next question is, what can I do? as opposed to I tried and I tried again. That's not good enough. So I can't do this, I can't do that. The next question is, what can I do? So we go to before we continue on to the other useful ideas on the other side of this card, the golden nuggets I'm going to share, what I'd like you to do is, this is a very brief, like 30-second conversation. You want to tell each other, just based on the golden nuggets I've shared, what can you use to help you be better at what you do? So can you be more flexible and adaptable? Maybe you need to be more flexible and adaptable. Or can you do the 4-4-6 to be focused and stay present so you can be more helpful and useful? Or maybe you just want to salt the hay and find a way, because behind every 2 can'ts, there is a can. So this is a very brief 30-second conversation, and keep in mind, this is not just for you. You can actually use any of these ideas and bring them back and help others with them at home, at work, and in life. So 30 to 45-second conversation. What do you want to do differently? 4-4-6, AFA, or salt the hay? Go ahead. Tell each other, what can you do differently? What's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one? Finish up, please. Finish up. Finish up. So who there thinks they can use one of the techniques? Who has an idea that they like? Who likes the AFA all the way? Anybody like the AFA? Always flexible and adaptable? Okay, who here is more on the 4-4-6? That's huge. That really does work. And what about the salt the hay, find a way? All right. Then we'll continue on. On the front of the card, it says, number 1, wave goodbye to worry, anxiety, and fear. I call worry, anxiety, and fear wafts. My friend Sue, worry, anxiety, and fear. My friend Sue, who's with me tonight, her nephew had some hearing loss, and he was actually born with a very difficult time about hearing, but his family didn't know it. They thought that he just slept well. And for 2 years, they'd have parties or friends over, and they just couldn't believe how he could sleep through all the noise that they made. And they didn't realize till he was 2 years old. And then they started to worry because they started getting the wafts, like, oh gosh, it's been 2 years. And so worry, 90% of what you worry about doesn't even happen according to psychology today. And then there was some anxiety. I like the definition for anxiety. Anxiety is the horrible stories we tell ourselves that are rarely, if ever, true. And although they did get a little bit of anxiety, they made sure to really help their son, Austin. And it turns out when he was a teenager, he won the bronze medal in the Deaflympics. And so all of those stories that they were telling themselves that didn't come true didn't need to be said. So worry, 90% doesn't happen. Anxiety are the terrible stories. And then there's fear. There's a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Have you heard of it? Deborah Jeffries is the author. I never read the book. I got so much out of the title, I didn't have to. I just prop that book up in the office and say, I'm feeling the fear. I'm doing it anyway. It's okay, because I'm flexible and adaptable. I like what Zig Ziglar had to say about fear. He said, fear is an acronym, and it can stand for one of 2 things. It can stand for fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. Isn't that nice? So fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. That's Zig Ziglar. So we want to get rid of the wafts. So please raise your right hand so we can get rid of any wafts you may have. Raise your right hand, please, and just say, goodbye worry. Goodbye worry. Goodbye anxiety. So long, fear. And hello, joy. And expect anything. My father had a few good expressions, and this one you may want to write down. I call it a golden nugget, a useful idea. He said in life, in order to be successful, you need to function in disaster and finish in style. function in disaster and finish in style. I said, how do you do that? He said, expect anything. If you can expect the outrageously unexpected, you're going to have a much better future. And also, if you embrace change. You know, nothing changes if nothing changes. The key is to change before you have to, right? So I'm giving you this change chart. You're welcome to take a photograph of it if you'd like. But I found that this is quite useful. When we're talking about making pioneering progress and igniting innovation, what we're talking about is making some changes. So it's about the minor change equals the major impact. So if you look in the blank box, you say the word without. For instance, you might say without vision, you get confusion. So without vision, you get confusion. Is that true? Yes. Without vision, you do get confusion. Without skills, you get anxiety. And without incentive, you get complacency. Without resources, frustration. And without action plan, mediocrity. So to have positive change, it's really about vision, skills, incentive, resources, and action plan all coming together to make that positive change happen. But in your day, you're going to see these boxes move around and the gaps come and go like a shell game. One of my favorite ways to read the chart is to do a reverse diagnostic with it. The reverse diagnostic says if you're feeling confused, go back to the vision. If you're feeling anxiety, you need to brush up on the skill. If you're feeling the complacency, you need to have more incentives or reasons for doing things. And if you're feeling frustration, well, let's check on those resources. And if you're feeling the mediocrity, well, then the action plan is needed. Who feels that they can actually use this chart to help them help others to improve? Anyone? Do you see how it works? Now, I learned about vision at the eye doctor. They play a game I don't care for. It's called the Which is Better game. Have you heard of it? Which is better, A better, B better? Which is better, 1 better, 2 better? And they kept saying these things, and I started to get confused. You know? I said, I don't know anymore. I'm so confused. And my doctor said, great. I said, why is it great that I'm confused? And he said, oh, because confusion is the step before clarity. I said, I didn't come in for that. I came in to get my eyes examined, and you're giving me a philosophy lesson. And he said, no, but it's true. He said, I show you different images, and then you get closer and closer to the point where it doesn't matter anymore. And then I realized, you know what? Confusion during change is a step. How powerful is that for you? Do you work with anybody who is confused? Do you ever get confused? And you get frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you feel like quitting, and you feel like you're not smart enough, or you can't handle it, or you don't understand why you're not getting it. And I know you experience this. And if you remember that confusion is a step, it's part of the formula to clarity, it can change everything. And so that might be a golden nugget for you to write on the back of your card. Confusion is the step before clarity, and help others that are making some changes to know that as well. I also know about vision from Walt Disney. Walt Disney had a vision to put a smile on the face of every person in the world. That's a big vision, right? And he did it through cartooning his talent. And he found that he could make cartoons that were very nice, and that he made motion pictures, and then he did Disneyland, and he was developing Disney World, but unfortunately he passed away before Disney World came to fruition. But his brother Roy was there, and everybody was smiling because Disney World opened in 1971. I was there as well. And they saw everything, and a reporter ran up to Roy and said, isn't it a shame Walt couldn't be here to see this? And Roy said, what do you mean? He saw it so you could see it. That's vision. So keeping sight of that vision is quite critical. Now, this can help you in so many ways, but because there are so many different people here, we've got parents. Let's hear the parents. Got the parents? Can we hear some of the parents? Yes. And we've got professionals and therapists, and can we hear about who's here from that? Yes. And then we do have those who have a deaf or hearing loss. Can we hear? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to give you a quick quick conversation once again, because I want you to leave here and use what I'm sharing with you. These tools are quite powerful and they can be life-changing for you and others that you help and work with. So if you could spend, again, maybe just a minute or two and just say, I can use this chart with this, or this chart will help me to change that. So it's just a quick conversation with the person near you. But if you came with the person right next to you, don't talk to the same person. Go look behind you or look diagonally across. It's best to get a feel for other people so we can network and get to know one another. But again, it's only about 2 minutes. When you hear the music start to get louder, then you want to finish up and I'll continue. Deal? Deal. Okay, how are you going to use the chart? Will it help you? Go. Talk to someone new. Is there a clock, or you just throw the clock out the window? I need to know time of it. I know we're late and everything. I was going to have like a 60-minute clock up there, and it's all zeros. So I don't know. So maybe you can like set it for 20 minutes or something. I know we ran over. But no, I'm just getting my clock up because I don't have the time sense. Okay. And I know we started late, but Gayla said to do my whole thing. Sure. I know you have a tight thing. Okay. Thank you. How you doing?
Oh, very well.
Good.
I was just pissed off that sign didn't move.
Oh, that's okay. We're flexible and adaptable. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Amelia. Amelia. Finish up, please. Finish up. We got some music coming on. Finish up, please, and we'll talk about it. Who thinks they can use the chart and wants to give us an example of how? I've got prizes. I've got Big Bob. Come on up for a Big Bob, and then you can have the stress ball. Can you come up? Did you wave your hand? Yeah, come on up for the Big Bob. That would be you. Come on down. Do we have a mic? There are mics on the side? Come on, quick, come around. Oh gosh, you gonna be okay? Sure. Okay, just do the 4-4-6. Thank you. So how can you use the chart? And wait, what are you gunning for, Big Bob or stress ball?
Stress ball.
Okay.
We'll go for the stress ball.
You have to say if it's worthy with your applause at the end.
You. Okay. Oh, so I have to play to the audience.
Yes,
here.
play to the audience.
Okay.
Why would you use the change chart? How will it help you?
I'm an itinerant teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing currently, and I was talking. Oh my gosh, photo op? Do we have to do a photo op? Okay. So here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so
Flexible
we
and
were
adaptable.
discussing the whole idea of anxiety, and not so much on our part, but of the classroom teachers. Mm-hmm. So when I place, or when a student with a hearing loss is placed in a regular ed classroom, often the teacher's like, oh, I don't know what to do with the kid. The kid's got a hearing loss.
Freeze that. Have any of you heard this before? Yes, okay.
And so then it's a matter of working on reducing that person's anxiety so they realize that all we're asking them to do is good teaching skills and to pay a little bit of attention to the student.
So you'll focus on the skill portion to reduce the anxiety, and I think that's deserving of a stress ball. What do you think? Thank you so much. Pleasure. And we had one more over here. Come on, run up. Got one more person coming up. You're going to use the change chart and see how you're going to use it. And if there's a third, we have time for one more. Does anyone else want to explain how you're going to use the change chart? Come on up. Are you going for the big bob or a stress ball?
Oh, definitely bob.
Big bob.
Backwards.
Backwards. Here's your mic. Backwards, Bob.
So I was talking, and I think that when I work with, I do parent-infant work, and when I work with families, sometimes they're feeling confused, and we can talk about that their confusion is because of lack of vision, and go through this chart and explain and deal with their emotions and see if they're feeling they don't have their resources, and if they don't have their resources, how that's affecting them.
Absolutely. Is that worthy of a big bob? Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Okay, good. So who here thinks that they can use this chart or teach someone else how to use it to improve? Raise your hand. Good. And you can take the screenshot if you want, and we can send that to you as well. Okay, we'll send it to you. One thing that is a nice skill is that 4-4-6 breathing, and I've given you some bubbles, and if you reach down to the left side of your chairs, you'll all have a bubble bottle. So pull out the bubble bottles, because as a skill to reduce anxiety, sometimes that 4-4-6 is nicer with bubbles. Thank you. And so here's how it works. You're going to do an inhale for 4 seconds. Then you're going to do a hold for 4 seconds. Then we're going to do an exhale through the bubble wand, and it has to be a 6-second bubble stream like this. 6-second bubble stream. Watch again. See if you can do it. Now do not inhale the bubble goo, okay? So here we go. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4. And through the bubble wand, can you do a 6-second stream? Try again, the 6-second bubble stream. You see, it's counterintuitive. Some people say if they blow real hard, they'll do it, but that's what messes it up. If you blow real hard, it's actually not going to work. And that's why you have to have that gentle approach. Okay. Turn to the person next to you and just say, I think we need a 4-4-6. Go ahead. I think we need a 4-4-6. And you can keep the bubble bottles, and you can use them with your clients. Anybody going to use the bubble bottle and the 4-4-6 with somebody else? Raise your, yes, you better believe it. And we have extras if you need extras. So we're moving on. We're moving on to the velvet hammer. So place your bubble bottle somewhere nice, and we'll continue on. Also, I do a lot of work with schools, and when I speak to faculty and I give them bobs, a lot of the teachers and the school psychologists and sociologists, they've been calling me and saying, I need more bobs. There's something very therapeutic about bob. So if you do need some more bobs, please do see me. I'll be here until tomorrow morning. So now we're going to move on to the velvet hammer, because I'm here to talk to you about communication. In order to really be an exceptional communicator, first you have to be de-stressed, which is when you do the 4-4-6 and you're flexible and adaptable. And then second, it's useful to know certain words and phrases. So my father was a linguist and a psychologist in addition to being a reading expert, and he was very good at talking about how words matter. Words matter because they are containers of power. And the question is, how are you using yours? So for the past 25 years, I've been studying words, and I found that there are 2 words that open a conversation and 2 words that can close a conversation. In psychology, it's called the primacy and recency effect. Primacy effect is your first impression or the first word you say, and the recency effect is your most recent or last impression. So the primacy words I like to use when having a critical conversation, and you know how potentially difficult critical conversations can be to be had. To make a critical conversation a little bit easier, if you open it up with these two words, it will help make a difference. They're natural words that you would normally say, which is very useful. And I call this being planned, not canned. And if you start a conversation that's potentially difficult with noticed and wondering, you can see where it can go. So you could say, I noticed that Jonathan seems to be a little bit distracted and having a hard time paying attention, and it really doesn't have anything to do with hearing loss. So I was wondering if you have explored other elements that might come into play here. Is this a conversation you could have? And you use noticed and wondering to buffer it? So noticed and wondering is a very nice way. I noticed that the progress that's been made is not as far along as I was expecting at this time. So I'm just wondering if you could help explain how you're going about practicing what we've been going over together at home with the family. Do you see how you might be able to use notice and wondering there? Or I noticed that you have beautiful charisma, and sometimes when you are communicating with people, you may be bluffing. You may be not really understanding what they're saying, and so I'm wondering if you might need some help asking for clarification. Does that make sense? So noticed and wondering, and then you close it with likelihood and when. So what's the likelihood that you can practice more often, and when can you start? That's the close. That gets you the commitment. And so when you have these potentially difficult conversations, if you use these two words to start and two words to end, you use noticed and wondering, likelihood and when, it can make all the difference. It's called the velvet hammer because there's soft words like velvet that pack a punch like a hammer and they get results. So likelihood and when, noticed and wondering. And then you have to take into consideration when you're talking to different people who they are. And I'm sure you're familiar with the different personality types. But basically, this example is social, ego-driven, helpful, and factual. So who here has taken the personality profiles, Myers-Briggs, Wilson Learning? You're probably very familiar with many of these things, and maybe you've heard about them so much that you might think there's nothing more you can learn about them. And I'm here to share with you a few key elements, because I like to give you simple information that is very powerful and useful every day. So if you speak the language of their land, for instance, social people have a language unto their own. They say the words great and amazing a lot. Do you know people like this? It's great, you're great, it's amazing, isn't it amazing? And you're thinking, well, why is that more amazing than that? Like, how do you differentiate these amazings that I keep hearing you say? So their hot button is amazing. It's to be noticed and recognized, and their language is about great, phenomenal. So if you're from the land of social, and you speak fluently the language of your land, you say amazing and great a lot, or you interact with people like that. Now, the opposite of the social personality is the factual, and the factual's hot button is right. They like to be right, they are right more than any other type, because they research, they take time, they're very deliberate, and their language is also comprised of words like absolutely, precisely, exactly. That's how they talk. And so opposites attract, and I'm married to a factual, and I tend to be more social. And so my husband is a builder. Would you rather have your builder be a factual builder or a social builder? Factual builders pull permits and look at codes. Social builders tell you how great it's going to be when he's done. So my husband was building an addition on our home, and I was so excited. I said, this is great, it's so terrific, I love it, it's wonderful. And he's like, yeah, and he walks away. And I thought, he has a negative attitude. How can I be married to a negative person when I'm so positive and great? So I started studying this a little bit more, and the addition was still being built when I got the eureka moment. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not speaking his language. I have to speak factual. So I created this language of the lands, and I said to him later on, as the addition had progressed, I said, honey, this addition It's exactly how I pictured it, the way the beams line up so perfectly. And you know what he said? He said, yes, and look over here. You see that beam? It's not level. It's eye level, not level level. Here's the level. He was so positive and happy, I couldn't believe it. And then I thought, well, you know, all I really want to do is be amazing, so I don't really care about the level. But it's okay because I'm what? Flexible and adaptable, like Bob. So across is the helpful. Helpful like to be helpful. I know many of you in here are factual and helpful. Helpful people are kind and helpful and devoted and caring. And I hired one of each type and I studied them for 3 years. Every day, total transparency. I told them I was studying them. I listened to the language that they said and used, and I asked them, what compliment do you like to hear? Because you know behavior rewarded gets repeated. The problem is, if you reward somebody with the wrong compliment, it's not a reward. Sadly, one guy came up to me after a session like this, and he said, Joy, my father never gave me a compliment in my life. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. What type was your father? And he said he was factual. I said, what type are you? He said, I'm social. I said, did your father ever tell you you were right? He said, all the time. I said, I hate to tell you this now, but he was giving you the highest compliment that he could sincerely give. So you need to know you actually were being complimented. I mean, when my husband tells me I'm right, I really don't care. What do I want to be? Yeah, thank you. Oh, I love it. So I asked Eileen, my assistant, I said, Eileen, what compliment can you like to hear that will really resonate with you? She said, well, I don't need to be great, I don't need to be right. I said, okay, we're processing of elimination here. What do you like to hear? And she said, well, if you told me you couldn't have done it without me, oh, I would have loved that. And so that's what she needed to hear. I couldn't have done it without her because she helped me so much. You see? And then there's the ego drive personality. They want to win, so help them win or get out of their way. You know, people like that. Are you like that? And your hot button is win. You want results. You want it to be useful. You want to stay on point because if you don't, it's pointless. You're either useful or useless. And you're on to the next. You don't even have time to stay because you're on to the next. Move on. Let's keep going. Okay, no time for idle chit-chat. You know what ego-driven people like to hear as a compliment? Nothing. They tell themselves on a daily basis how they're doing, and your input is not required. Amen. So I was having a little talk with Amelia while you were talking about the change chart, and now. And I said, what do you think about the change chart? And he said, I like it very much. He said, but I'm still kind of disappointed. We have more people on this side of the room. And you know what I said? I said, I gotta be a little flexible and adaptable. And then I started singing a song from Frozen. You know the song? Let it go, let it go. There are other battles to win. Notice I'm using his language, right? Or maybe, I haven't tested it. So here's the point. There's always a point because if not, it would be pointless and I would be in trouble. So I went to Greece. I'm in Greece, I know no Greek. It's all Greek to me, nothing. So trying to figure out how do I speak. And so I'm transactioning, you know, I'm giving money, I'm taking some merchandise in the market, and it was nice, but it wasn't personable, and I didn't like it. So I asked somebody, how do you say thank you in Greek? Anyone know? Ευχαριστώ. So I said, ευχαριστώ, and then I get this, brakalo. I get a whole new person. Why? Because I'm speaking the language. Guess what? I only knew one word. Now I know two because they say brakalo. So Efgaristo, brakalo. I want to see how they write Efgaristo up here. It's a little tricky. I had to Google it from my book. I didn't know, have a clue. Close enough. So that's not how. I did my best, Gayla. I said I would speak slowly. And Woo! Where's the captioner? Where's the captioner? Oh, there she is. Throw that woman a stress ball. Breckalow. So if you just know one word, you probably have accidentally hit the right word with the right person, and then you see them glow, right? You've seen that. And you wonder why they are so excited, because you said wonderful sarcastically, and they thought you meant it deliberately. Oh, that'll be wonderful. And like, yeah, wouldn't it? Because you use the words, and words are containers of power. Now you know the secret. Your minds will never be the same. When you talk to people and you say the right word to the right person, but it's less of a treasure hunt and a scavenger hunt to do that now that you know these words. Words are containers of power. This is the language of the land. One last example of the language of the land is when I was in France with my daughter. She was 10. She was very bored in France. She didn't want to go to any more museums. She wanted to go to Disney. So because I'm a social, I just go right down into the tube, the underground, and I start asking people, où est Disney, which is where is Disney in French. OU is où en français, for just OU-E-T, where it's Disney. So no one knew what I was talking about. I'm like, how could they not know what Disney is? They have Disney France right here, Disney Paris. So then I thought, I'll change it up. I'll salt the hay on this. I'm going to say, où est Mickey Mouse? They'll know what that is, right? So I said, où est Mickey Mouse? I hear, oh, Disney. I'm like, Disney? Are you kidding me? You don't know Disney, but you know Disney? And that changed everything. So if you say great when you need to be saying right, and when you say helpful when you need to be saying nothing because they're on to the next, do you see how this can help you? And it can help because behavior rewarded gets repeated. So how are you rewarding people with your words? And those velvet hammer words that I told you about, noticed and wondering, likelihood and when, you can use those for positive conversations, not just critical conversations. You can say, I noticed that you're making such great progress. And I was wondering, what are you doing? And what's the likelihood that you can help me help others to do it too? And when might that be? When can we get started with that? And so these are the different elements of how you can interact with people when you know the language of their land and you just say one word, and that one word can change everything. So you may self-evaluate, because you're very good at evaluations. If you were to self-evaluate, let's hear the socials in here. Who's social? You're amazing. Let's hear it. Clap if you're social. Woo! Who here is factual? You can just politely clap. You don't have to do anything major. All right. You may be misdiagnosed if you said woohoo. because every type makes a sound. Did you know every type makes a sound? So one of the sounds, the sound that the social makes is woohoo. The sound that the factual makes is ah. The sound that the helpful makes is aw. Your whole registration desk is all helpfuls, because I said, did you find your phone? Yes. Oh, I just want to make sure you got it. Oh, thank you. You know what I'm talking about. And then the ego drives, they make a sound too. You know what their sound is? Listen really carefully. Here's their sound. They don't know they make it. They don't know they make it. If they did, they wouldn't make it because they're very close to the vest. The sound of the ego drive is, So that's the sound of the ego drive. Bottom line is words matter. So when you work with people who are social, they're awesome, amazing, and a rock star. Maybe you're working with factual people and you're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. You can't say you're perfect because it doesn't exist. I found that out by telling a factual they were perfect, and they said there's no such thing. I asked one of my clients, what's so bad about being amazing? And he said, well, there's absolutely no tangibility to the word whatsoever. But he did go on to say that if I said he was amazing because he did this, then it would have made a difference. Okay. Helpful people, tell them they're helpful. Love it. They love the love. Tell them you love it. Don't forget the ego drivers want to win, and they're number one, so just help them win and get out of there. Thank you. And maybe you're a chameleon. A chameleon type is someone who can relate to all the different types. So if you're always flexible and adaptable, you'll have a better chance. And also if you watch your ogive. Ogive is a cumulative frequency curve. It goes up, it goes down in your day. So if you're having positive ogive, you're ahead of schedule, feeling great and early for work. If you're in negative ogive, you're feeling not so good, you're late for work, you're feeling awful, and you're behind schedule. Ogive is really a statistical term that my family created to help people understand how to deal with the ups and downs of their day. Statistically speaking, it's in art history. It's the size of a stained glass window, but it's horizontal in this picture, or a bullet. It's a real curve. But in your day, you're going to have ups and downs, and as you progress with people you work with, you're going to have ups and downs. So you want to help people understand that the more they progress and go up, the more positive ogive they will achieve. And when it goes down, 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 then that's the negative ogive. If people are in too much negative ogive, they can be very depressed. Some people are hospitalized for this depression. But if you're always, always up, sometimes you're hospitalized too. So you have to watch your ogive. If it's too high up, you're going to go crazy. Like, people won't like that. So just watch the ogive. But if you're going under, the key is to stay above the line. And when you start to find out you're going below the line, or anyone you're working with is getting too frustrated, say, you know what, I think we need a break. Put on some music, take a moment, and take a breath. All right, so that's the ogive curve, ups and downs of the day. Because in life, you're either riding the wave, or you're off to the cave. And people don't go to the cave alone. They go to the cave with other people, because people don't like positive people when they are going to the cave to miserable company. That's not true. Misery does not like company. They like miserable company. They can commiserate together. I learned that in my Psych 101 class at University of Miami. So there's 4 core human emotions, and we'll start to wind things up. The 4 core human emotions are mad, glad, sad, and scared. Being that I have a degree in psychology, who has a psychology degree? Let's hear it for our psych people. Yay. I call them houses. So you have the house of mad, the house of glad, the house of sad, and the house of scared. So the question to ask yourself is, which house do you live in most, and is it time to move? And I found myself living in the scared house. I was spending too much money on shoes and things. And it got to be a little bit much. And have you ever had an out of money experience? You have. I'm seeing hands. And it got to be too much. So in order to live in the house of glad, which is where I recommend you live, you have to do a few things. I was wondering if I'm going to get my slides back, but I'm going to be very flexible and adaptable. Are the slides coming back? Yeah? It's flexible and adaptable? There it is. You have to pay your rent every day. In order to live in the house of any house, you have to pay your rent every day, right? So it's all on this card, but rent stands for, it's number 7. Rest stands for rest, exercise, nutrition, and thoughts. Rest, exercise, nutrition, and thoughts. Live in the house of glad, you got to pay your rent every day. Rest, on the card it says there's a purple break. My father wanted to have more energy, and he wanted to do this naturally, so he discovered you have a pigment in your eye called rhodopsin. It is broken down in bright light, like fluorescent light and sunlight, and it's restored in total darkness. But we're never in a totally dark environment, because there's always a light source somewhere. When you sleep, you'll see a clock, or you might see a device, or you might see a cable box, and it's always interfering, or even the porch light or the night light. And so he had a purple patch. It's just this eye shield that he would put on, and it would help restore the visual purple, which is also known as rhodopsin. And he ended up only needing to sleep 3 to 5 hours a night for the last 40 years of his life. And you too can do this if you give yourself a purple break. And a purple break is nothing more than closing your eyes and then covering your eyes, relaxing and breathing, and just counting backwards from, say, 20 to 1 on each exhaled breath. I'll give you a very brief purple break experience. If you take a moment and just close your eyes, cover them with your palms, and it automatically gets darker because the eyelids are thin and light penetrates. Take a moment and breathe. Just relax. And we'll just do a quick backwards count from 5. So that's 5, exhale, relax. 4, exhale. 3, exhale. 2, relax, enjoy. 1, exhale. Now do not open your eyes because you're in an experiment, but slowly remove your palms, and you'll notice there's more light now, it's brighter, and then you slowly open your eyes. And that's a very short version of a purple break. But if you want to have more energy, who here wakes up tired? Anybody tired now? Anybody know you're going to be tired tomorrow for whatever reason? Anybody just live tired? And then I used to tell myself, I'm tired, I'm so tired, which makes me more what? Tired, because language is behavior and words matter. So I started to tell myself I was funny instead of tired. I'm so funny. And it worked. Like instead of always telling myself I'm tired, I'm funny, and it starts to work. So pop quiz, Bob's giving you a pop quiz. So in order to pay your rent every day, rent stands for what? Rest, exercise, nutrition, and thoughts. Okay, so for exercise, I'm gonna take a video of this. You have to put your hands in the air like you don't care and wave them around, and I'm gonna videotape that. And guess what you're doing? Yeah, see, I call this exercise, right? So check it off your list, because I'm so tired of people saying, I need to exercise more. Check it off your list, done. So tell the person next to you, I exercised today, go ahead. Yeah, man. Look at those calves. Nutrition, my friend Joanne's a nutritionist. She said you have to combine a protein with a fruit. So do that, stop grabbing the M&Ms. I said, what is it that's most important to eat? She said, well, I'll just tell you that broccoli is good and sugar is evil. So repeat after me, broccoli is good and sugar is evil. That's right. So I told my son I was giving up sugar for Lent. No more cookies, candy, cake, 40 days, 40 nights. I didn't know if I could do it because it's very addictive. And I said, Wilson, what do you really love that you're going to give up? And he said, I really love church. I said, you're giving up church for Lent? Is that what's going on here? So, whoa. So flexible and adaptable. So we'll finish up. Thoughts is the most important one. My son Jonas, I have 4 children, Jonas, Jesse, Mackenzie, and Wilson. And my son, the doctor, Jonas, he works in the emergency room in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I said, what do you think about this rent? Because some people think that thoughts is a psychobabble. They question it. They get cynical on thoughts, saying positive things to yourself. He said, Joy, thoughts is the most important one. I said, why? Here's a good quote. He said, because your thoughts drive everything. Then I asked, well, what do you think about the rent? He said, if people would pay their rent, they would not be in the emergency room. Because they come into the emergency room because they blew the rent. They blew the rent check because they are not resting, they're not exercising, no nutritional focus, and also not saying right things to themselves. So Emile Coué supplied this. It says, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. He was a French pharmacist and philosopher and one of the inventors of the placebo in France. So every day in every way I'm getting better and better. You can say that to yourself 20 times in the morning and 20 times at night, and you can actually advise others to do so too, that you want to see more progress from, and you will get better results. I guarantee it, because I use everything I'm sharing with you. So to finish up, we just have 3 more tips. One is to take action, because without action, you have nothing. You have to execute. Second is to know it will not be yesterday, so anything that's happened in the past is gone. When Wilson was 5, he got grounded for not listening. And I said, Wilson, you can't bring Scooby-Doo to show and tell. You can bring this frog. He was not happy. Next day, he goes to show and tell. He has this little rubber frog. He comes to the car. I said, how did it go? Show and tell. He said, it went fine, and I don't want to talk about it. 5-year-olds, they can be mad. And any 5-year-olds who don't listen? Yes. And so I said, well, listen. I said, Wilson, if you had listened to me yesterday, he clenched his fist with rage and he screamed, Mom, it will never be yesterday, so why do you keep talking about it? I said, that's genius, and I wrote it down. I give him $5 every time I quote him. I'm teaching him about royalties. So it will never be yesterday. Here's the author of the quote. Can we all say, aw, aw? Wilson Kent McIlharney at age 5. It will never be yesterday, so the final question when you ask yourself is, what's the one thing you can do to further your success for tomorrow based on all the golden nuggets I've shared with you this evening? What's just one thing? Pick one thing. It could be Language of the Lands or Purple Break. It could be Velvet Hammer or Paying Your Rent. It could be Living in the House of Glad. AFA all the way with the dance or not with the dance. You could be 446, or maybe you're Salt the Hay and Find a Way, because behind every two can'ts there is a can, or Function in Disaster and Finish in Style. Any of these will help. But when I had a talk show on Cablevision and I interviewed CEOs and asked, how did you get to the top? One answer struck me as being useful, the most useful, and he said he would ask himself, what's the one thing I can do to further my success for tomorrow? And he would do it. Every day, 220 business days a year, for 10 years, it built a positive cumulative frequency that just took off, and he left his day feeling satisfied. When most people left their day frustrated, they didn't get enough done. So I'm going to ask you on 3 to shout out your one thing, and then we will end. What is the one thing? So think about it. Is there one thing that you can do to further your success for tomorrow? So you got it? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Shout it. Yes. And if you do that, you will enjoy the journey, and you will hang with the lions, and success will be yours. As long as you're always flexible and adaptable, like Bob. Thank you. Yes. I forgot to mention, I gave you all a pin underneath your chairs that has positive words. You can trade them with each other and enjoy. You're fabulous, you're right, you're amazing, and you're winners. Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Joy. It was awesome.
so I hope this was good for you. You
have to fill out the raffle card.
well, they haven't done it?
No.
Oh, there's a raffle card. So fill it out,
Drop it off at
and
the door.
you get a Bob T-shirt. You get a Bob T-shirt tonight. There's the dinner. I hope to see a lot of you there. And if you can't make the dinner, there's going to be dancing. There will be a cash bar and dancing till midnight or more. So hope to see you later.
Enjoy your evening.
Everybody needs a place to call their home. Everybody needs someone to call their own. Even when you're lonely, no, you're not alone. You're one of us, one of us, one of us, one of us. Is this your starring role, or just a cameo? Who are you living for, living for, living? Oh. When you